The amateur skeptics will be at the Mayan Survival Party.
Saturday, December 22nd at Jack Quinn's Bar in Colorado Springs. From 6 to 9, hosted by the Free Thinkers of Colorado Springs.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the lamp and remember to tip your waitress.
Hello and welcome to the Amateur Skeptics Podcast, number 75. I'm your host. Yay! Brian. The girly scream in the background was Ian.
Girl, come on, man, buddy.
And the manly scream in the background, Tango. Can Tango do a manly scream, Mac?
He can, actually, but he's not in the room.
Oh, okay, well, alright. So, and of course, Mac.
Yeah, why were you doing a funny voice when you started introducing things?
I don't know. Was it funny?
Yeah, that was weird.
Was it weird?
Yeah. Good afternoon,
That's
and
right.
welcome to the Amateur Skeptics Podcast.
How about this? Hello and welcome to the Amateur Skeptics Podcast number 75. Joining me this evening, a couple of douches.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly, that is actually better.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, there you have it. What is everybody doing?
Lots and lots of artwork.
Artwork? What are you doing artwork for? Anything specific, or are you just doing artwork?
Family Christmas. We're doing basically art trading cards.
So
I'm doing art that can be shrunk down small enough to fit on a trading card.
So what do people in your family do if they're completely unartistic?
I don't know. Well, you're asking me if the family is doing trading cards? No.
Oh, it's just you.
My gift for the family.
I was going to say, I thought maybe this was a thing. You were all doing artwork for each other. Yeah. I'm thinking, how's that going to work?
Yeah, that wouldn't necessarily work out real well.
Because you've always got the one strange
Sam
uncle.
Sam and I are doing, she's doing her hand-drawn ATCs, and I'm doing my 3D artwork, which is going to be, I'm going to do limited series of the prints, so.
I made a bird climbing gym.
Yep.
Because
well, I'm going to say, Brian, I'm well familiar with the habits of conures and what they climb, and I think you probably made 3 and married one more.
Well, it's pretty nice because I can set it on the floor and just kind of put him on it, so it's a nice portable stand too for him. Mm-hmm. So we can have him in the kitchen while we're doing stuff, and actually, surprisingly, he doesn't want to poop on my shoulder. When I put him down, that's when he poops. Yeah,
actually, that's what Tango does too.
Yeah, and you can kind of see they'll start to get fidgety, and so it's like, oh, okay, it's time.
He'll sometimes drop off my shoulder and then do it.
Yeah.
And first thing in the morning, he actually likes to do his business above Wallace, which Wallace doesn't really like very much, but. You know, that's their dynamic.
Oh, all right.
I have a bird climbing gym in my office. Unfortunately, it's called my desk.
Your desk. Well, I made one.
The images you showed look pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I had a good time doing it, and the nice thing is that I didn't glue the main stand into the pedestal, so I can just unscrew it and make a new one if I want to. So
now, did you make the ladder from scratch, or did you buy a ladder?
Okay, I bought the ladder, but I did buy the stuff to make a ladder from scratch as well. But I'm thinking how difficult. I mean, that's going to be pretty difficult because you're going to have to get those holes have to be perfectly spaced.
Not difficult per se. Just a serious pain in the ass.
Yeah, and so I don't know if I'm going to make a ladder. I think buying it might have been really worth its cost.
Yeah, the ladder looks, I was going to say, if you made that ladder, it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I can't imagine it without, like, if I had a drill press, I think I could do a lot better job.
My plan is I'm going to acquire some branches and just make a natural branch type one.
Yeah, I think that would be good too. The nice thing is that this is really sturdy. I can pick it right up and move it to where I need it. So, yeah. All right. So we have some announcements. Of course, Friday, December 21st, Mile High Skeptics are having their end of the world party, and there's limited space for that. So if you want to go, you need to get signed up. Then Saturday, the 22nd. The Free Thinkers of Colorado Springs are having their Mayan Survivor Party, which of course we will be going down to 6 to 9 at Jack Quinn's Bar. So, and of course I know nothing about space on that one. I just know I'm.
That is a damned manly name.
Yeah, isn't it? And what's this, December?
You just expect him, just the owner of the bar, if he is in fact Jack Wynn, you just expect him to have like a permanent 1/4 inch of stubble at all times.
Who's
and,
FT?
Just hairy chest. There, I said it.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Sunday, December 30th. Who is Free Thought something? Free Thought Exchange. Yeah, Spirit Keepers Interfaith Boulder. What is that? Anybody know?
We've talked about the last few podcasts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, refer to Kimberly's babblings from the last podcast. All right, so there you go. We got those going on. Not a whole lot going on, but I am going to be in Colorado Springs December 22nd. So there you go. But I don't think I'm going to make it out for the end of the world party.
So be in Colorado Springs December 22nd and meet international celebrity Brian Heinesser.
I'm only a celebrity in my basement if I'm lucky.
No, you're an international celebrity. People in more than one country know who you are.
Well, that is true.
So you're an international celebrity.
Doesn't mean much.
I'm an international something.
It's better to be an international celebrity than an international house of pancakes.
Okay. It's like it's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Always.
I'd rather be a
have
moron.
This bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
That's right. I'd rather be a moron than a less on.
Okay.
Ian, you got anything on that?
Yeah, anything?
No, I'm leaving the bad jokes to you two.
Yeah. We're letting them fly tonight because Kimberly's not here to really huff about it.
Bad joke, free flight.
Oh, see, but I huff at half of your
Conure
jokes.
Free flight, but
yeah, I'm going to teach my conure to fly outdoors. I'm doing it. Speaking of free flight. All right. So we got a wonderful article from Donovan. He actually put it on our Facebook page, as well as we got this through email about the weight of swords. And hey, we were right. We were actually. It's nice once in a while to know that we've said something correct, because normally, it's the only time we get feedback is when we say it's stupid stuff, which is a lot, right? But this time we got feedback for something we were correct about.
Yep, that is nice. The article is absolutely fantastic, and it's incredibly detailed. And he points out where a lot of the urban legends on this came from, and where a lot of the bad information is coming from. And it's bizarre because some of the information that's so bad is actually coming from people who are quote unquote sword experts, including fencing maestros, modern fencing maestros. You would think that they would know something about the historical basis of the sport.
Well, maybe you should reiterate what we were right about.
We were right about the fact that swords don't weigh 40 goddamn pounds.
Or even 30 goddamn pounds.
Yeah, they weigh about 3 to 5 goddamn pounds.
Right.
To continue the goddamn theme. But even some of the heaviest swords, less than 10 pounds. And I think you were talking, Ian, last week about the claymores were about 7 to 8 pounds.
That was me, and I thought that they weighed about 5. I thought 5 was even heavy for a claymore, but I would not be surprised, up to as much as 7 to 8 pounds. That's a heavy sword.
Yeah.
You understand what the claymore historically was used for.
Yeah, cutting off horses' legs.
Yeah, it was essentially an early light anti-tank weapon.
Right, but so it needed to be long and fairly sturdy, but it doesn't mean that it had to be heavier necessarily than a broadsword, depending on how it was made.
The way that the sword works is essentially it's an arm extender, and it's extending your arm with an extremely sharp edge. So it's all leverage, and it's all the way that it's wielded that is where you get your power on it. If the sword feels heavy, that's because of the way it's balanced. If it's balanced toward the blade, it's going to feel heavy to you.
Right.
If it's balanced well, and if it's balanced close to the crossguard, it's going to feel like you can wield it all day. So, although, a couple of hours and you're going to feel like your arm's going to want to drop off.
Right, which means that 4 to 5 pounds cannot all be in the blade. Some of that has to be in the pommel to counterbalance that sword so that you can actually swing it. Because if that was really light and this sword was very heavy, you'd never, the accuracy would be decreased.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'd also figure it'd probably break off the handle. I mean, if you have like a 10-pound blade and only like a 1-pound handle, that also has to do with how much strength is going to be. That small of a grip is not going to be able to support that much weight.
You've got an excellent point. I bought a sword once from Atlanta Cutlery that was made by their swordsmiths in India at Windlass Steelcrafts. And the tang on this sword, the tang being the part of the blade that goes into the handle and holds into the handle, the tang on this thing was incredibly thin and narrow and soft. So this sword had a tendency to bend at the point where the blade met the crossguard.
Right.
And let's see, I had a friend who was working at a machine shop at the time, and he built that tang up for me with essentially welded onto it and built it up so it was much stronger. I no longer possess that sword. I gave it away. It was never right. It just never felt right. And I've got some very, very nice blades that I have kept for my own use.
But that's also why, if you look, the bigger the sword, generally the bigger the handle to them, because they have to have more going into it to balance it.
Right. Well, that, and they've also got, if you're talking about a longer handle, you're also going to want to be able to grip that sword two-handed, or even to be able to have a third hand space between where your power hand and your balance hand are at.
Right.
In order to just have that much extra leverage.
All right. So, it was a good article. It's long, it's detailed, and just talking about the weight of swords barely scratches the surface of what it goes into.
Yeah.
So.
But it's a good follow-up to our discussion last week.
As the question of how deeply it scratches into the surface does depend upon how it's swung.
Okay.
Go ahead, crack yourself up. Go.
I'm going to. Hey, my bird has developed a laugh track, so I was telling Brian earlier that Tango has actually, he will laugh along with me. I'll be laughing and he'll be going ha 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 ha.
Hey, so
but only
onwards.
When nobody's listening.
This was a good week for listeners' input, because the next one is also another link given to us by a listener, Jeanette. And this one is very much current, and it is the Mayans are pissed off over doomsday deceit.
As current as information about the Mayans can be.
It's a couple months old, but it's very relevant to what's happening Friday. So, basically, the article talks about how, while the Mayan civilization itself is not really there, the descendants still are. And that some of them actually are still involved in the culture of the Mayans. And they're actually very pissed off over the local governments in Guatemala basically utilizing the idiotic Mayan doomsday stuff to hype up some money-making ideas. To get more people going down there and tourism all over the, obviously misleading doomsday crap. And
the question,
so go ahead.
I was going to say, the question I have, I mean, you look at this, all these people in these Mayan ruins, and you got to think, well, I mean, at least they're getting a heck of a lot of people to come down there and spend money. It's got to be good for their tour, for their economy. Do they already have a tourist economy? They probably do. So, and are they equipped to handle this many people all the time anyway? I mean, is the part that they're upset about the fact that it seems to be only that a piece of Mayan history is being abused. That seems to be the key here. But are they upset because there's so many people down there asking just about this one stupid thing? Are they just getting annoyed?
I got more they were just offended by the fact that they were promoting this as being something legitimate. That's what it felt like to me. And they're saying, listen, this isn't real stuff. Try and actually respect the reality of it and utilize that to promote it. Don't start, jumping on the bandwagon of something that is lame and way, way off from the actual Mayan culture.
What I would want to do if I was there, I would be asking every single one of those people that come in there, do you believe it? That's the only question I want to know. Are you here because you believe it? Are you here just because you've been hearing this stuff?
Are you here because everybody else is here?
Right, exactly. What brought you here? Is it, would you have come anyway? Or is it only because you heard about the Mayan apocalypse? And if so, do you think it's true or do you think it's not true or silly? I mean, I would be really interested to know about the demographics of the people that are there. And I don't think that anybody has done that. I mean, how many people, I don't know the statistics, how many people actually believe the Mayan apocalypse is true? We know that there's gotta be some, but how many really?
Yeah.
I really question, I know it's gotten a lot of hype, but does anybody actually believe it's the end of the world? Certainly,
probably fewer than believed Harold Camping's latest prediction.
I would guess that's probably true. And does Harold's Camping prediction water this one down? It's like, oh, great, another doomsday prediction.
Could be.
I hope so.
Follows your article that you put in here.
Yeah. Well, this one I like the title on this one.
Yeah.
The marketing fallacy. And basically it's talking about just how fear sells. Yeah. And I wonder if you have to believe it to spend money on it, or if just the fact that somebody's saying this is enough. And once again, it doesn't quite go into it, but yeah, in this article that I put in basically goes into how, it's just the end of the long-term calendar, it just starts over. There was a great picture somebody posted on Facebook.
Well, I found it reposted on the Amateur Skeptics.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Are you the one that did that of James Randi who found a 2013 Mayan calendar?
Yeah, I saw that and said this is perfect for our page. So.
Yeah, but there's something far more interesting going on here than just a doomsday prediction. There is a sociology behind this that makes it interesting. And like it goes back to how many people actually believe it. People like my mom who are spiritual. It's just a consciousness shift to them. They claim it's just going to be a change in consciousness. And I think that one of these articles goes into, how basically it's just going to be a change in consciousness. And, where is it? Maybe it's in your article. That people are going to become more in tune with nature and yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, really? I'll believe that when I see it, and it's another naturalistic fallacy as well.
Well, now hold on a second.
Okay.
At the same time, and you might be the one to answer this because you did used to study astrology.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time that this Mayan thing is happening, does the moon enter the second house and Jupiter align with Mars?
Well, what does that mean? And whose second house?
Peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars.
Well,
most of that's gibberish.
Well,
but I do believe
gibberish.
We are supposed to be entering the age of Aquarius, though, aren't we?
It's not gibberish. It's a great song number, particularly the one at the end of 40-Year-Old Virgin.
When we talk about the age of Aquarius, we're talking about, I can't even remember.
Well, basically it has to do with where the sun is, doesn't it?
Yeah, the sun is supposed to be entering Aquarius. You could look all that up. But a lot of that is fallacious because of stars moving and changing and our positioning changing as well. Our North Pole is not the same North Pole as when a lot of this was invented. So
when you say
fallacious, I shouldn't say invented, I should say made up.
When you say fallacious, what meaning are you applying to that?
Well, not fellatio.
Fallacious, though, in the sense of being like a penis.
It's a lot of cock. Yeah.
Nice turnaround on that.
Yes, thanks.
But then, of course, the next article I threw up here talked about basically the commercialization of it all and how people actually are making money off of it. And they're talking about how actually doomsday prophecies in general have proven to be very profitable for people. We have already talked about in the past the reality show Doomsday Preppers and some of the stuff that's been going on with like converting missile silos into bunkers and such for the wealthy and all those things that basically profit off saying, hey, look, things are getting bad. Give us some money so you might be able to survive it, kind of thing.
So I guess, the way that I explained this to my kids was, what happens when our calendar rolls out? And Tatiana says, we buy a new one. I said, exactly. When we get a new one.
Well, we did talk about the Mayan apocalypse pretty extensively back in episode 50.
Yeah, we've already done
it.
And it's been done everywhere else and it's been done to death. But the more important thing that we should do right now, and I just thought of it, and so I didn't give any time to prepare, but what are these people going to say the day after. What are they? What is the apologetic that we should expect? So
Well,
Matt,
actually, the show Raising Hope just dealt with this, and it was great. The mother was like stockpiling like crazy, determined something was going to happen, and everything. And then it didn't happen. But their acquaintances, I won't call them friends because they're generally competitive with them, had sold everything they owned and had done some really stupid stuff. And in the aftermath, when they come back and have nothing, they're saying like, well, yeah, we figured we'd just go on this huge vacation because, the world was coming to an end, and now it's not, so we have nothing. And thanks to the mother's hoarding, she could actually help them get back on their feet by giving them all the stuff she hoarded.
oh great, so a happy ending hoarder story.
Yeah, but not for the right reason.
But not for the right reason.
I'm not caught up on Raising Hope, unfortunately, yet.
Yeah, I'm not either. But
I did
okay.
like the fact that they found a way to use the scenario of him being adopted and still being the natural child of the chances.
That was a weird one.
Right. So what we're going to see, one of the things we're going to see is, well, we got the Mayan calendar wrong. It's actually next year.
I don't know if they'll push that. Haggard finally gave up on it after his, saying, okay, it's not even worth it. This one, well, I think there may be some freak jobs left doing that. I don't think it'll be that big of a thing. I think they'll mostly go and say, oh, it was the spiritual change that happened. I think most people easily convert over to that.
Well, they'll either convert to that, they'll go quiet, but the people who say it's going to be a consciousness change, and there are some of them out there, now they're going to have to start to try and justify it. So we're going to see a lot of cherry picking apologetics for that. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it says here that the experts all agree that the calendar ends next year. So they could be a year off. When was this published? Wait, maybe I got this wrong. This is 2000. This is 2011. I'm sorry. The second article, the Doomsday one, marketing fallacy, is. So I guess they all agree. So okay, so they're not going to say that. They won't push that.
Yeah.
What we're going to hear is,
There might be a handful that will try to find some excuse like that, but
I don't know. We'll see.
That's not going to be easy to justify.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I hope.
The question is this a situation where some people's career is doomsday mongering? In which case, they've got to find a way to justify it. They've got to find a way to make it work.
Well, there's the guy who started it, who sold a whole bunch of books, whose name escapes me, who's like a pseudo-anthropologist. He's not really, but he's the one who started all this bogus
But he'll
stuff.
probably back away for a little while and come up with something new in a few years.
Right. Well, what about the Planet X and Nebaru people?
They'll rearrange that to make it fit. And, we're off by 10 years or something.
Right.
A few things like that, just, we'll shift time-wise. I agree with that. But most of the people...
they did forget to account for daylight savings time.
Yeah.
It is true that in 2029, that there's a possibility Apophis will hit us. And and there's supposed to be a keyhole event that they think will tell us if what's going to happen with that. And
is that likely to be a foothold situation?
No.
You're talking Apophis. I figured you were going into a Stargate thing.
A Stargate thing. No. There's an actual asteroid called Apophis that could potentially hit us.
Is it made out of Naquita?
No, it's not.
I thought I would check.
Yeah. Gee, thanks for asking.
Okay.
Oh man, if Kimberly was here, we wouldn't even get that far, would we? She would just be groaning.
She's gonna be listening to this, just shaking her head and going, "No,
I gotta need that to."
I'm so glad I took that. Boys. Yes, right. Yeah, we kind of need someone to wrangle us in a little bit better. It should probably be me as the host, but screw that.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
So time to move away from the Doomsday fun.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that I am so tired of the Mayan apocalypse. I'm ready for it to die.
And luckily, next episode, we can pretty much not have to deal with the Mayan apocalypse crap.
We can take out a garden spade and put that one in the ground, huh?
Yep. We'll just have to wait for this one to pop up.
All right, what do we got here next?
This was an interesting article.
Yeah. Go ahead. Universe, just a giant computer simulation.
Yeah, this is one of those weird things about questioning reality kind of thing. And this actually tried to give something in the way of scientific logic to it. And I don't know. I didn't buy the arguments that were being given to say it is, because there's a lot of stuff that to me doesn't quite work trying to claim that.
Well, tell me a little bit more about what they're saying, because, I'm confused.
Well,
So what are they proposing here?
What's going off of kind of the Matrix kind of thing, which is, the Matrix storyline was weak as it is for science.
All right. You can air your personal grievances about the Matrix some other time.
Well, but it's relevant here, though.
Okay.
So, this one Bustrom argued that at least one of the following things must be true. The human species is very likely to go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. 2, any post-human civilization is extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history. Or 3, we're almost certainly living in a computer simulation.
Okay, and why does he say one of those is definitely proven true?
I never quite got that.
Yeah.
That was one of my problems with this. I never quite got where he's getting this from.
Okay, well let's give him that. How do we prove it? Tell us about how he proposes we prove this.
That's where it starts. Go ahead.
Any post-human civilization is likely to have feathers. We've already talked about this. The fact that the birds will replace us.
We have,
which is why I'm getting good with them.
Well, okay, it got into, you have to look for a signature. And the example you say something like a limitation in the energy produced by cosmic rays.
And how do we know that that's just not a function of a cosmic ray?
I never saw any logic to back that up. But he talks about, basically you could take the universe into a numerical simulation and gets into how, that'll be similar to binary code in some way. And to me, a lot of it just felt like, overthinking things and leaving huge gaps in logic to get there.
The other proof that he said was that when we develop a simulated civilization, it will prove that we are also a simulated civilization.
We have a simulated civilization. Second Life.
Well, there's that, but Second Life is one you're interacting with. There have been others. There has been other projects where they have used them for evolutionary models that have kind of a mind of their own. And there's no reason with the way that computers are going that we can't start to develop that kind of a model, more rudimentary than ours. But eventually, we may be able to program it till it's very similar.
Yeah.
And we can,
but it doesn't prove that we
happens.
are a simulation.
Well, no, it doesn't. That's circular reasoning.
Yeah, the whole thing it was interesting concept, but none of it felt right to me. None of it, like a lot of it seemed to be just speculation.
Well, that's what you're programmed to think,
but
Ian.
Here's the thing, okay, but, right. Even if, let's say any of these proofs were true, and we could figure out that we were in a simulation, what do we do about it? Does it really matter? Or is it just an interesting thought experiment?
Well, if we can prove that we are in a simulation, then we would know Kung Fu.
No, we could go and get programmed to know Kung Fu. We wouldn't have to go through all the training. We would just download it. We'd have to know how to download it first. But no.
Anyway.
The idea of questioning reality is one thing. I think most people have odd thoughts about, what is real, how does reality work. But to go to the level of saying all reality is a simulation and not have anything to back it up really seems a bit odd.
Well, we don't necessarily have his paper here either. All we've got is somebody's digest of his paper. All we've got is somebody's. He may have better information in his paper that actually makes it sound like it makes sense. But we're looking at an article from techland.time.com, and it's a 5-minute read article essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, but even if it's true, and we're in this simulation, can we do anything about it?
I don't see how, but
and so is it important that we're in a simulation or not?
Yeah, that's another philosophical concept there. If we are just a computer simulation. Yeah.
Simulization. Okay, a simulated simulation. No, that works, Ian. Just go with it like it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah, okay. So if we were some sort of computer simulization.
There we go.
My new term that I just invented. I get credit for anyone else that uses it owes me a quarter, by the way.
That's right.
basically, would our existence matter less? It would be, the main thing that comes from it. Would what we do matter less? Is it relevant or not? And, I mean, you're getting some weird philosophical areas because that comes to, if we are or not, doesn't make a difference.
It's the same argument that if we're not here for a purpose, then why do we do anything at all?
Yeah.
Because we're here.
Well, and I would tend to agree with that, right? But we can relate this back to certain things that religious people say to make themselves feel better. And the same thing could, I mean, and if we could prove that we're in this simulation and all we are is ones and zeros, what do those people do?
Right.
Because they already are living for this afterlife and not for themselves and not currently. Frankly, if we're in a simulation, then okay, great. Then I am simulated. But I'm still kind of enjoying it.
You are anything less.
Right, but
if
I'm
you
not.
exist in a simulation, Brian, what is your purpose in the simulation?
Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna continue to enjoy myself.
I figured it'd be the same as if we weren't in a simulation.
Exactly, right? But if that's the case, then there is no afterlife because we're just ones and zeros. And, I think that causes bigger problems for theologians than it does for, an atheist who's already living for themselves.
Right.
And maybe, I mean, I'm making a dichotomy there of two different groups. I mean, there's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah.
But I think that it does show that it's very important that what we're living for has to be something tangible to us here. And I have,
of course,
if we exist in a simulation and our bits are deleted, they just go to form some other part of the simulation. So we live on.
Okay. And of course, we already know the universe is based off numbers because Mac's next thing, which I would love to know exactly why we're talking about it. Although
because if the universe is just a simulation, its purpose is to come up with the ultimate answer of life, the universe, and everything, and that's 42. I'm skipping the middleman.
That fits perfectly with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy now, because we know we were created as a supercomputer to figure out what the question is.
By mice.
By mice, yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that works. You just defended why we are a simulation.
Because of mice.
And we've also now found the name of the show. Living in a Simulization.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so I thought that was cute that you put that in there, because that's the answer to everything. 42.
It all comes down to.
Yeah, so I don't know. Ultimately, it doesn't matter to me whether I'm in a simulization or not. We just go on. Enjoy yourself.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. Watch porn. Whatever floats your boat, of course. Right?
I do like the part in here in the article talking about the fact that University of Washington researchers have suggested there may be a way to start testing soon if we want to verify Bostrom's supposition. Start with the assumption that we'll be able to simulate the universe or small portions of it perfectly someday. A pretty big assumption since we're still trying to reconcile, etc., etc., etc. Basically, these University of Washington researchers, this is their thesis that gives them a reason to get paid for playing World of Warcraft. And I love that.
All right. Let's move on to our...
Somewhere out there, University of Washington researchers are saying, damn it, he just ratted us out.
All right, Ian. Tell us what we're going to discuss here. What happened?
Okay, a acquaintance
with no
of
names.
Ours,
Yeah, with no names.
An acquaintance of ours left a post on Facebook today that I ran across and thought presented some interesting concepts that are expressed through. I'll read it to you and then we'll discuss it, and you can figure out what I'm seeing here. Anyways, all three of us know the person in question and most of the people involved in this. So some of what we will come up with is our knowledge of those people and how they interact. But here's what she put on Facebook. And it's actually the post and a couple of her comments later on, although they all flowed together perfectly, giving the whole story. So the post itself started with, agree or disagree? It's wrong, cruel, and disturbing for two adults and one 16-year-old boy to gang up arguing with a 10-year-old girl arguing about the origins of Christmas and Easter. The adults in question are her father and his female roommate. The teen is her older half-brother, and they are not Christian, trying to tell a Catholic Christian 10-year-old that Christians stole the holidays from pagans. So that was the initial post. Then later on she followed up with the next two parts, which were two different comments. The first one, I am proud, very proud of her, however, for standing her ground and not allowing them to sway her faith, even though these grown adults and teens tried to blame the 10-year-old for arguing with them. The conversation started when they put up the Christmas tree Saturday evening at her dad's house. She made the simple and true statement, there would be no Easter without Christmas. Then the final one.
I don't see that that's necessarily true.
No, it's not.
Then the final one was, she even was gracious enough to preface her statements with, according to my beliefs. They, however, apparently think that she is the one arguing because she didn't cave to what they believe to be historic fact, which is only their belief and misunderstanding of history.
That's an interesting...
I don't think it's a misunderstanding of history.
Yeah.
I'm coming at this from two different directions myself. On the one hand, essentially, I don't think it's necessarily right for adults to try to change a child's beliefs, but that goes for both sides of the equation, too. I think children should be allowed to believe what they're going to come to believe, not be proselytized in any direction whatsoever. I think they should be given the opportunity to learn whatever they're going to learn and believe whatever they're going to believe based upon whatever they learn.
What, and we shouldn't question those beliefs?
Well, in this case, what it is it's not... What bothered me was the fact that she's writing off, well, this is what my daughter believes, how dare you try and force your beliefs? And that's trying to say that my beliefs can override your fact. Because, I'm sorry, the fact is the Christians did steal the holidays from the pagans.
Right.
There's no doubt. It's not about our belief. It's about knowledge of history and knowing what really did happen.
Christ's birthday, historically, would actually be a different date than Christmas.
Right.
1 second while I use my Google-assisted memory.
It would be spring. It would be March or April.
And the majority of the actual traditions that we are putting with Christmas are pagan traditions. Holly, the tree, the lights, all that are not Christian. They are... So,
well, the evergreen specifically, has been used for years. I mean, the Egyptians used evergreen as well, to represent, life through the seasons.
So... And the statement, there would be no Easter without Christmas, well, if you're following there would be no death of Christ without birth of Christ, okay, I'll give you that. If you believe there was a Christ, without his being born, there would be no death. That's fine. But to try and use the holidays in that context don't work.
There's also a key thing in here that in the statement that she prefaced it with, according to my beliefs. Not according to what I believe, but according to my beliefs. According to this belief system that she has been indoctrinated into. They're not necessarily her beliefs, they are the beliefs of the indoctrination. And it's and the phraseology there is interesting.
And we all, as we all know, the woman who wrote this, she is one that really, when she gets into a belief, she solidly goes into it without questioning.
Yeah.
I've seen that of her. When she was a pagan, I saw that. When she converted over to Catholicism, I saw that. She doesn't.
Well, I think she would say she didn't convert to Catholicism. I think she would say she returned to it. But
yeah, but still, when she went back, the way she went was all die hard. Everything the church tells me is going to be 100% correct. I'm not going to question any of it.
Okay, hold on a minute. Let me quantify what you mean by die hard. Are you saying that she was hopping over broken glass on one foot? Because I saw that in the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's the more important thing here. The whole thing that she's upset about is that somebody is questioning her daughter's beliefs, and her daughter is either going to be able to defend those beliefs or not. And to say that they were ganging up on her, well, I mean, if three of them don't believe it, it could certainly seem that way. But there is a way for this conversation to take place without her being attacked. And the problem is that the person writing this article would never make that distinction.
Yes.
Not an
article. More. We know the father.
I'm sorry,
this post.
I'm sorry, this post.
It's a Facebook.
We know the father, we know the half-brother, we know the mother, and we know the daughter. And knowing them, the father is not the kind that's going to bully around his daughter. The half-brother
We're not a fly on the wall, though. We're not a fly on the wall in the situation.
But if you were
all we can do is suppose.
Yeah,
all we can do is suppose based upon the personalities of the people that we know,
and
as to whether there was any ganging up going on or not.
I've known the father for most of my life.
I mean, it's irrelevant, but nobody else does. So we have to stick to what this post says.
I've known her half brother his whole life.
Oh, yeah.
So there's what we are given here and what we know of them is what we have to go by, though. And what I know is the daughter in question herself is very much easily upset by people telling her she's wrong. If people question her, she gets upset. It bothers her the idea that she might actually be mistaken.
All children feel that way.
I'm going to say this.
Okay.
I'm going to say this at this point. It doesn't matter who the people are in question. The question is it wrong for 2 adults and 1 teenager to gang up arguing with a 10-year-old girl? And, I would say that that's probably, if that situation occurred, that is probably borderline wrong, definitely.
But it's not necessarily wrong.
It's not necessarily what happened there.
Well, yeah.
But if what is being described is a situation that I would consider to be wrong.
Right, but
if the 10-year-old says that she has every right to go and steal a car, and they all argue with her, no, you don't, and this is why, she says, no, you guys are wrong. According to my belief, I should go out and be able to steal a car if I want to.
Okay, well, then at that point, the police gang up on her.
But the thing is, if you're trying to promote the truth and fact, is that ganging up?
You know what? Here's another fact.
But we're talking belief systems here.
But here's the other thing is that most of the time people get the most upset about things when they can't defend something, when they're being questioned and they can't defend it because they haven't really examined it. And I know that I personally get the most upset about things if I believe something, or this doesn't happen to me as much anymore, but as a child, especially if I believe something and somebody would question it and I couldn't defend it, I would just get angry, right? Yeah. And that's probably a pretty normal response, but later in life, I had to learn to defend these things. And this person, this 10-year-old, is either going to be able to, and I know it's harder when it's a 10-year-old, but one of the reasons she's probably the most upset is because she can't defend what she's been indoctrinated into. That's one of these problems with these belief systems, is that we tell these people, this is how it is, don't question it. And then when somebody does, they can't defend it. And so it sets the person up.
The mother, I think, wrote this because he can't really defend it, and it's upsetting her. And so instead of being able to be more civil and, talk to her ex-husband about it,
she's basically trying to take a survey to prove that she's right, which is a weak position. I also have to take issue with the fact that she began a sentence with which. And I think that's grammatically correct.
Well the whole thing's not necessarily grammatically well done.
It's a Facebook post. Knock it off.
Yeah. But the wording she uses, I bet, is much stronger than the event that happened. I mean, she puts arguing in there constantly. And I doubt there was much arguing going on.
But here's the thing, is that if the child's upset, why is she upset? Is she upset because somebody told her she was wrong? Or is she upset because she was questioned in the first place? I mean, there is a good way to have a very good learning experience from this if it's handled properly. If you say to the child, well, why does that upset you?
And that's one of my other things is I don't see that being part of what she's trying for.
No, what she wants is, in this particular case, she wants people to tell her that she's right, and thereby that her daughter is right as well. And to me, I actually don't care who's right or wrong on this.
No,
I find myself indifferent.
Indifferent. Well, I mean, here's the thing, is that I'm doubting that these people actually ganged up on her. They probably told her the history and some different things like that, which are contrary to what she has been told, which creates a contradiction that she can't resolve. And I don't know. I question my kids all the time.
If they ganged up on her, I want to see pictures of the bruises.
Well, it doesn't
have to be. No, but Ryan has a good point. I've done that with my kids, and they've gotten upset with me. I'm like, listen, this is the facts. You can't change the facts just because you don't like them. And I pushed that above pushing, I need to make sure you're comfortable and feel good about the thing. I don't want my kids growing up thinking that they don't have to actually pay attention to reality, even if we are living in a civilization.
Well, and the other thing,
I invented right.
I expect my children, if they tell me something, to be able to defend it.
Right.
And that's different levels depending on their age, right? But I never hesitate to question their beliefs. And if you ask me, what it sounds like is going on here is that these people had the audacity to question this other person's beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
And you could take the age out of this, I suspect. I suspect that they could have done this with the mother, and we would have seen a similar post.
Yeah, I agree. But the other interesting thing that comes to me out of this is I'm surprised the Catholic Church is still not admitting to the fact of where the holiday traditions come from, because it's not like it's some big secret anymore.
Well, yeah, but all the progressive nature of the Catholic Church pretty much ended when Pope John Paul II passed away.
That's true. They have kind of regressed. But the other thing is that it doesn't matter. The Christmas we celebrate has very little to do with the baby Jesus anyway. It has become a commercialized fiasco.
Oh, definitely. And my dad keeps pointing out, if the Christians really wanted to get Christmas back on the right track, the first thing they need to do is attack Santa, because he's definitely symbol that just very much takes away from the religious aspects.
Well, according to Fox News, Santa has been attacked. So,
well, that's Saint Nick. Remember?
Yes.
And there's some history there that's worth exploring. But here's the thing: Christmas. How many days do you get to celebrate your birthday for?
Yeah.
1, right?
Yeah.
So Christmas used to be 1 day. Then we had Christmas Eve, and now we have a month of Christmas, and now we have Christmas in July. Christmas is not the holiday that it once was. And so people, we do not need to interject the Christian pieces of this, to get together with family and exchange gifts anyway. It's unnecessary, but it is interesting from a historical standpoint where Christian came from. But perhaps when you're putting up the tree, it may not be the best time to have that conversation. I don't know. I don't know the family that well, but I wouldn't hesitate to do it with my family. But we approach Christmas from a completely different point of view.
Oh yeah.
So.
And that's one of the things you see more and more in Christmas is it is coming from all different points of views, and I think that's one reason why the Christians are really panicking with the whole war and Christmas stuff, which as we covered last year was a joke.
It's only Fox News.
Only Fox News is talking about the war on Christmas.
Yeah. Well, they're trying, they do everything they can to keep it alive.
I brought up last week that Fox News' target audience is older people who still think it's the 1950s.
Well, I saw something talking about the average intelligence of the Fox News listeners, which is below average, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, no, knock it off. Did you hear what
this was an actual study.
I know.
I don't think it's necessarily a lack of intelligence. I think it's a cultural bias.
I think so too.
I think that they are going for a certain target audience, and that target audience is what they cater to. The beliefs of that target audience.
Here, did you hear what Jon Stewart had to say about this, about the war on Christmas? He showed just how fallacious the whole thing is. And in the end, because there's Christmas everywhere. You can't go anywhere outside and you can't swing an elf without hitting a Santa blow up snow globe.
Yeah.
It's everywhere out there. In these atheist groups that have issues with, these Christian displays on public property win an occasional battle. That's not a war on Christmas.
That's an application of our separation of church and state as outlined by the Constitution of the United States.
But even if we manage to get all of these religious, displays and any other time that religion encroaches on our government, out of government, nothing has to change other than our governmental, our government, not personally acknowledging, Jesus, baby Jesus. But everybody else still
can. You're still going to be able to drive through
can.
the neighborhood this time of the year and be blinded on every block.
Yeah, right.
by lights.
People's electrical bills will still be outrageous during December. Yeah, I don't know. I'm frustrated by the whole damn thing. I'm so tired of the whole damn holiday because of all of this crap.
Yeah. Right. Stop making it so political. Stop trying to make it into that you want it to be, and let everyone just have it the way they want it instead.
Yeah.
I do have these pangs of Schadenfreude every time the government has to take down their Christmas display. It's just, those little wins feel so good when you just look at, this stuff is everywhere that you're not going to one little display goes away. It doesn't change the season at all.
Right.
Now, if you start making every single one of these, stores take down their display for some reason, yeah, that might impact things. And I don't care whether you want to say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever floats your boat.
Oh yeah, that still has come up again this year. It surprised me.
Oh, it's everywhere. Whatever. I don't care what people want to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Well.
And we've gone silent.
Yeah. I'm done with the whole thing. And in this little incident is probably a very minor little thing that happened. And who cares? That 10-year-old is either going to be able to defend her beliefs or not. They're probably not going to change. Right? And were they trying to change her beliefs or just educate her a little? I don't know.
To me, it sounded like they were trying to educate her.
Yeah.
But a little knowledge can really mess up someone's religious ideas.
Well, I know, but read the Bible. That'll do it too. All right. Do you guys got big plans for Christmas?
Just normal stuff.
Yeah.
I may be working. I don't know. I haven't got a schedule yet.
We go out to dinner Christmas Eve with the family, come home, open presents, and Christmas Day we'll go first to my sister's house and then to the in-laws.
Very good. Yeah, no, we go over, we do our Christmas Eve thing, and then the family just hangs out in the house all day on Christmas. We just have a good time. Yeah.
That's what it really should be about.
Yeah, we have a good time. We enjoy each other. Locked in the house, nowhere to go. Panic starts to set in. It's a lot of fun.
Fortunately, 7-Eleven is still open on Christmas. Yeah. And Walgreens most of the day.
Well, and the movie theater will be open, and in fact, less and less stores are closing on Christmas.
Well, and for that matter, in terms of talking commercialism, Black Friday has extended into Dark Gray Thursday.
Right. Yeah.
And, probably Houndstooth Wednesday. But
it's a corporate holiday.
And Black Friday hasn't really ended yet either.
No, it hasn't.
That's true.
Yeah, no. It's a corporate holiday now. I mean, the corporations have taken it and commercialized it, and that's what it's about now. It's about buying stuff. But I'm not bitter.
I can honestly say we spent really not that much on Christmas this year. The main gifts most of the family's getting are something I put together for them.
Oh, that's
nice. Which I will not reveal at this time, since I do know a couple of them listen to the podcast.
Ah, well, I got a couple of family gifts, that for us, that we can all play with, and I think that'll be fun.
And I mentioned earlier what I'm doing in terms of my family, and I hope that they get some fun out of it.
All right, well, good. Anything else?
I think we had a good podcast.
I think this is another one in the can.
Yep, very good. All right, say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Amateur Skeptics Podcast. For more information about the Amateur Skeptics, go to amateurskeptics.com. To send us feedback, suggestions, or big flaming insults, feel free to contact us at WTF@amateurskeptics.com. Other contact information can be found on our website.
You can leave a voicemail for the Amateur Skeptics Podcast at 720-295-7785. Music for this podcast was provided by OFM. To find out more about OFM, go to myspace.com/OFMHQ. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons, No Derivatives 3.5 license. Thank you for listening to the Amateur Skeptics Podcast.
Amateur Skeptics website, Facebook, and podcast album art is provided by and copyright Shadow Knight Digital Portraiture. Larger prints or custom pieces are available upon request.